Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Riley Speidel's great adventure, pilot sues over Boeing 737 MAX design, and U.S. Air Force veteran freed from captivity in Libya. Welcome back, and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm your host, Sophie Herlock. A few weeks back, we brought you the story of Riley Speidel, the 14-year-old from California who celebrated her birthday soloing in the family Pipistrel Sinus motorglider after undertaking well over 100 hours a duel in the motorglider with her father. Now, there's even more in the story. Just hours after school let out for the summer, Riley took off from California with her father along another airplane and undertook a long cross-country which resulted in her arrival in Maine 8 days later. With the benefit of great weather, Riley's solo adventure encompassed 29.1 hours and some 97 gallons of avgas. Thanks to training at an airport near a constant crosswind, Riley made short work of a number of gusty days and stopped to give some short presentations to hopeful young aviators along the way, including a stop at Sporty's pilot shop in Batavia, Ohio. Riley is quite an accomplished aviator at this point, with a grand total of some 300 hours and multiple types, 500 landings, and after training for this trip, a year and a half. Riley and her dad will be at Oshkosh in just a few weeks, hovering between the Soaring Society of America and Pipistrel displays. Be sure to drop by and meet this amazing young pilot. We'll be right back with Around the Patch.
Today is a new dawn.
With a new name.
Un nuevo logotipo.
A new factory.
Und einen globalen Kundenfokus.
We are Continental Aerospace Technologies, and we stand behind you.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Now let's take a quick look at some interesting stories coming out of the aviation industry. It's time for today's trip around the patch. The UK MOD has been awarded a $29.7 million contract for the U.S. Naval Flight Demonstration Squadron's new Fat Albert. The used C-130J Super Hercules is scheduled for delivery in spring of 2020, and cost savings associated with the acquisition of the used aircraft and other airworthiness requirements is approximately $50 million less than the cost of a new aircraft. DoubleTree's famous chocolate chip cookie may become the first food baked in space inside a prototype oven designed to make long-duration space travel more hospitable. Later this year, a batch of DoubleTree cookie dough will be launched along with the prototype oven in a rocket bound for the ISS as part of a landmark microgravity experiment. This year's Paris Air Show ended with an order intake of more than $1.3 billion for MTU Aero engines. The orders for Germany's leading engine manufacturer mainly result from orders and memorandums of understanding for the geared turbofan engines of the PW1000G family for short and medium-range aircraft. They account for around 95% of the volume during the show. There was also a commitment for the GEnx long-range engine, in which MTU also has a stake. The AEA Educational Foundation announced the names of the individuals who were awarded scholarships worth more than $100,000 for the 2019-2020 academic year. The foundation awards scholarships to students pursuing a career in the general aviation, maintenance, and aircraft electronics industry, with the intent on rewarding those individuals who best exemplify the qualities that lead to success in the industry. A full list of individual recipients can be found on our website at aero-news.net. We'll be right back with the rest of the news.
There's never been a better time to become a pilot. At the Sling Pilot Academy, you can get your private, commercial, and instrument ratings in 9 months for less than $63,000 and do it in modern, fun airplanes. Your flight training is going to be as exciting as your future career as an airline pilot. slingpilotacademy.com.
Build and fly with the most exciting line of kit aircraft on the market, the Sonex Aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at sonexaircraft.com.
A 737 MAX pilot has filed a lawsuit against Boeing, alleging demonstrated reckless indifference and conscious disregard for the flying public in the way it designed its latest variant of the airplane. The pilot has not been named, and the suit has been filed as a class action on behalf of potentially more than 400 pilots. The pilot, who's reportedly a Canadian who flies for an international airline, is identified only as Pilot X because he or she fears reprisal from Boeing and discrimination from Boeing customers due to Boeing's substantial influence in the commercial aviation industry. While the FAA is not named in the suit, the court documents accuse the agency of being involved in an unprecedented cover-up, with Boeing of the known design flaws of the MAX, which predictably resulted in the crashes of 2 MAX aircraft and subsequent grounding of all MAX aircraft worldwide. Attorney Joseph Wheeler, who is on the team representing Pilot X, said he initiated the necessary procedures that could lead to a filing against the FAA. The suit does not specify a dollar amount in damages, saying that should be determined at trial. U.S. officials say a U.S. Air Force veteran who had been accused of being a mercenary in Libya's civil war has been freed 6 months after the plane he was flying was shot down. 31-year-old Jamie Sponaugle was piloting an airplane believed to be a Mirage F1 that was conducting a raid against Libyan National Army forces near Tripoli. The LNA said it shot down the airplane, and U.S. officials don't have a clear understanding of what the former airman was doing in Libya. In a social media video posted shortly after his capture, he identified himself as a Portuguese national named Jimmy Reese and said he was a Libya civilian pilot under a contract to destroy bridges and roads. Sponaugle's captivity had not previously been reported at the request of U.S. officials who were working for his release. It's also not known if Sponaugle violated any U.S. laws. Sponaugle enlisted in the Air Force in 2006 as a mechanic and not as a pilot. He left active duty in 2013 and earned a private pilot certificate, but had no military training or experience. And that's our show for today. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, tweet, and like us. And for the latest aviation aerospace news, head over to aero-news.net. Have a great day.